Prologue. The story begins with a sergeant named Kang, who appears to be trapped with a group of his people and a professor. Apparently, they were all set up on this mission and lured into a trap. As they start to contemplate how many of them are alive and what they should do next, a door opens next to them, and one of the men who captured them comes out. The sergeant is surprised and tries to act when, all of a sudden, the man from the door drops dead, revealing a stranger dressed in a manner that conceals his appearance. He tells them to follow him with the prisoner, leaving the sergeant with no choice. While walking through the hallway, both we and the sergeant are shocked to find numerous dead bodies on the floor, all killed by this single stranger whose identity remains unknown. As they run, the sergeant spots two people who also spot them, attempting to kill them without harming his comrades. The unknown stranger swiftly incapacitates both enemies, leaving the sergeant eagerly wanting to know who he is, and what agency he's from. The stranger, whom I'll now refer to as Timothy, asks them to pick up the pace. A few minutes later, they hear multiple gunshots from a distance, prompting the sergeant to decide to help, but he's shocked to see Mr. Timothy rushing towards the danger, and swiftly eliminating 3 enemies. Realizing Mr. Timothy's tactics, the sergeant concludes that he must be a mercenary rather than a soldier, due to his reckless tactics. Upon reaching outside the building, Timothy tells the sergeant to halt, causing the sergeant to be confused, only to turn around and notice his injured comrade struggling to keep up. Scolding himself for not realizing their state earlier, the sergeant further respects Mr. Timothy for his consideration of their condition. The sergeant notices that Mr. Timothy speaks Korean, albeit imperfectly, and asks if he's Korean. Mr. Timothy flinches but doesn't respond, confirming the sergeant's suspicion. After a brief rest, Mr. Timothy escorts the sergeant and his team to the rest of his platoon, who were also saved by him. The sergeant is shocked to find his team still alive and not heavily injured, expressing his gratitude towards Mr. Timothy for saving them. Mr. Timothy responds, stating that there's no need for gratitude as he was simply carrying out his commission. Nonetheless, the sergeant thanks him and offers a handshake. Suddenly, they hear something approaching, prompting Mr. Timothy to yell for cover. After a moment, the sergeant realizes they were fired upon by a mortar while covering his ears. The sergeant attempts to locate his comrades, who were all well and unharmed. He waits until his hearing returns, only to hear loud gunshots nearby. Confused, he turns around to seize Mr. Timothy, who appears to be just a teenage-looking kid, shooting at the enemy. The story then skips ahead 6 months, where Mr. Timothy is introduced as a new student in a class. Some find him handsome, while others see him as a cocky prick. The chapter ends with the revelation of Mr. Timothy's real name, Ijin. This prologue sets up an intriguing storyline of a teenager who has likely experienced the hardships of the battlefield, now having to adjust to a normal student life, leading to potential confrontations with other students. This first chapter serves as an engaging introduction to the captivating plotline of this amazing manhwa. Chapter 1. In this chapter, we see Ijin-Yu's sister, whose name is Daeyeon, giving us a flashback of 6 months ago when Ijin arrived at the airport, where he, for the first time, met his grandfather and his little sister. Apparently, Ijin has been missing for 10 years or, to be upfront, presumed dead after the plane crash with his parents. This reunion was really touching and a bit awkward for Ijin's sister, as this was basically a complete stranger. The flashback is cut short when 2 sons of mother truckers pull up in front of Daeyeon, cussing and demanding that she give her gym shirt during gym as they have forgotten theirs. Daeyeon then gets slapped when she states that she wouldn't have anything to wear for gym, to which the bullies reply with a, "That's your problem, man, oh man." I can't wait until Ijin notices the treatment his sister is receiving, and decides to beat the living dog out of them anyway. Daeyeon further gets disrespected and embarrassed in front of the class. The scene is then cut back to Ijin when he was getting introduced to the class. When he starts going to his assigned seat, a red-haired dude named Ji-hyung, not liking the attention Ijin is getting from the girls, decides to trip him up, only for Ijin to stop the moment Ji-hyung puts out his feet. This embarrasses Ji-hyung, who then notices Ijin glaring back at him. We then get a flashback to Ijin before he got sent to his family, where Major Kang, the sergeant that was saved by him, explains that he should not fight against any school kids, as he might end up demolishing them. Aijin, deciding to hold back, just goes past him, giving the red-haired dude the assumption that Aijin is a little puss. Aijin finally sits down in his seat, where we then get introduced to Yongchun Park, who is by far going to be one of the best characters later on, and you'll know why in the next chapter. This new friend of ours then explains how the red-haired dude named Ji-hyung and the yellow-haired dude, Hyokjin-ju, are one of the few bullies of this class. He then also explains the school system and the classes that they both will have after this interaction. Aijin quietly looks around the classroom and starts to think how peaceful it is, while reminiscing of his tough times when working as a mercenary. The scene shifts to the end of the class period, where we see Aijin waiting for his sister, Daeyeon. They both walk home together, although the air around them is very silent as they barely know each other. Aijin breaks the silence, stating that it must be pretty awkward for Daeyeon, who is flustered and responds that it isn't. Aijin responds back, stating that it's weird for him as well, as he was only 9 when the accident occurred, and Daeyeon was only 7, so they don't have that much of a close relationship. We then notice one of the bullies in their group that was bullying Daeyeon. The piece of trash notices Daeyeon, making fun of her, stating that she didn't know that someone like her could date Daeyeon. Getting worried and trying not to cause any trouble for her brother, tries to mitigate the situation. When Aijin asks if they are her friends, Daeyeon frantically responds that they are, to which the piece of trash responds with an aggressive comment. One of the trash's trash cans is angered by Aijin's stare, and decides to pick a fight with him. Aijin decides not to fight back when the trash can grabs his collar, as he was reminded of Major Kang, who stated that he should try his best not to pick fights, but when his sister bows down to apologize, and he notices her scared face, Aijin flicks the bully's hand off. To which the bully starts complaining like a little bitch. Aijin, being him, goes to his sister to calm her down, and states that she should stay still for 1 minute, covering her face with his jacket. The trash, noticing an opening, tries to land a hit, only to get knocked out with a one backhanded punch from Aijin. The two bullies start sweating bullets, as they know they're about to get that ass whooping. Man, oh man, is this Manhwa the best when it comes to beating up bullies and getting payback. I mean, we didn't even have to wait that long. Chapter 2. We start off the chapter with a group of soldiers running laps, presumably for training reasons. These soldiers happen to be under someone named Major Kang, or if we remember from before, it's the sergeant that was saved by Aijin. The major and one of his colleagues talk about how Aijin would fit and act during his first day of school, as he has lived a good portion of his childhood, 10 years, starting from age 9 to 19 in a harsh battlefield. The major trusts Aijin to behave well, as he has trained him in the culture of Korea for the past 6 months before he was sent out to meet his family. The major, with his famous last quotes, no doubt, cuts back to the scene where Aijin backhand punched the trash can from the previous chapter. Lol, this is a pretty funny segment. The other trash can, I'm gonna start calling them trash can 1, 2, and 3. 2 being the dude that just got knocked out. The third trash can, realizing how the second trash can got knocked out in one hit, as his eyes are rolled back, starts to question if what he witnessed is real and begins to panic. Aijin wastes no time and immediately heads towards the third trash can, gut punching him to the point he was off the floor. Now, both trash cans 2 and 3 are knocked cold. The first trash can, the girl, starts to quiver in her timbers and starts sweating as she notices Aijin heading towards her too, but gets stopped when Daeyeon calls out his name in confusion, as she was confused as to what happened, since her face was covered with the jacket from Aijin. Aijin, not wanting his sister to witness the brutality that the first trash can was about to receive, starts heading back towards his sister. While all this is happening, the first trash can looks down, and doesn't let out a single squeak from her mouth. My man, Aijin, with his belief in equal rights, was about to give the garbage girl the hands. She's lucky Aijin cares for his sister's innocence. Aijin goes back to his sister and awkwardly tries to change the subject. When leaving, Daeyeon says her goodbyes, as Aijin stares back at the garbage can. During their walk home, Daeyeon is surprised by how well Aijin can fight, and lectures him that staring at people is a sign of disrespect towards them. Aijin states back that he knows that. Daeyeon, confused, asks why he kept staring if he knew. Aijin simply answers that they looked like they were causing Daeyeon trouble. Daeyeon, hearing this, gets emotional, and they head back home quietly. Back at home, Aijin helps his grandpa wash the dishes. We then find out how the grandpa was actually learning some cooking lessons, so he could prepare cultural foods that Aijin might have never tasted. Later, during the night as Aijin is lying down on his bed, he reflects on how his family has treated him so far, questioning the importance of family. Dom Toretto would be proud. As he falls asleep, we get a flashback to when the accident with the plane was about to occur. Right before the plane crashes, Aijin wakes up, panting with nervousness. Getting out of his bed and heading to the kitchen, he notices Daeyeon preparing food while at the same time preparing to go to school. Daeyeon says goodbye as she shuts the door behind her, reminding Aijin to eat up before getting ready for school. The scene cuts back to trash can number 1 with her most beloved friend, whom I'm gonna start calling a dumpster. Recollecting their thoughts on how Daeyeon apparently has a brother. While the dumpster can is thinking about what to do next, trash can number 1 is scared out of her mind, as she gets PTSD flashbacks to when Aijin was about to give her the 1-2-1-2 hands. We then cut back to Daeyeon, who gets smacked from behind by Miss Dumpster Motherfer, who bullies, slanders, and forcibly tells her to follow her, unless she wants to get beaten in front of everybody. The scene then shifts to an alleyway where Daeyeon is knocked around in front of trash bags. Dumpster states that because of how high and mighty Daeyeon acted yesterday by making her brother beat up her friends, her brother is about to get in trouble because of her. Daeyeon, hearing this, shouts asking what she means by that, only to get slapped in the face by Miss Dumpster, who arrogantly states that Daeyeon is acting out of line lately. Daeyeon starts shaking and crying as she realizes that her brother is about to get into a real mess because of her. This causes her to run back to the classroom where her brother is at, to warn him. We are then shifted to a classroom where trash cans number 2 and 3, as well as a few more, including Miss Dumpster's brother, whom I'm gonna start calling Mr. Dumpster, all arrive at the classroom where Aijin is at. Daeyeon is then seen bursting out her brother's name while panting. Aijin, noticing his sister's physical state, is shocked, not paying any attention to what Mr. Dumpster is saying. We then end the chapter with the confrontation of Aijin and Miss Dumpster's brother, as Aijin realizes the treatment that Daeyeon might be receiving at school. Lol, this is basically an all-out brawl between the brothers. But no, in all seriousness, we can expect Aijin to go crazy and start beating the living dog piss out of them in the next chapter.
Chapter 3. The chapter starts off with the classroom full of students chattering. We then see some sort of object hitting the ground, presumably chalk or some sort of eraser. We then see Young Chun, who has a terrified expression on his face. He appears to be getting bullied with that presumed chalk or eraser, which seems to be getting thrown at his head. One of the two bullies, Jaehyung and Hyekjin, yell out, "Nice headshot." See that? 2 clean hits in a row. Then I finished him with the headshot, mocking the fact that they're just bullying Yong-chun as if it's a game. Hyekjin asks for one of the students' erasers. They comply as they clearly don't want to be bullied as well. After receiving the eraser, he prepares for a long shot throw, which hits Yong-chun right in the head with a strong impact. Hyekjin celebrates the fact that he managed to do that, bragging to Jaehyung. "It's just one lousy shot, man," says Jaehyung, clearly not impressed. They continue talking as if it's a game. "You're shooting with a sorry-ass pistol, but I just pounded him with an AK. Haha. AK my ass, but that was a good shot." They continue laughing. Then here comes my M4 Carbon as he gets ready to shoot his shot. And right as he threw the eraser, it gets blocked by Aijin as he's walking towards his seat. The red-haired boy is clearly annoyed as we see Aijin getting ready to sit on his seat while Yong-chun is terrified. Man, That bastard's starting to get on my nerves. Then we'll just have to talk some sense into him. How about calling him out after school? They snicker as they plan to jump him after school. Hey, you okay? States Aijin. Yeah, I'm fine. Aijin clearly can tell that Yongchun is not fine as both Jaehyung and Hyukjin are just glaring at Yongchun. Yongchun continues to talk to Aijin. Are you doing anything after school today? Aijin? If not, we can hang out near the school and I can show you around. I don't think I can today. I have to walk home with my sister. Your sister? Did she transfer here with you? As he sparkles. Nah. She was going here before I came. What's her name? I might know her. Daeyeon Yu. We then see Yongchun with a paled face. Daeyeon in the first year? She's your sister. As he nervously looks around. Yeah. Do you know her? Well. Aijin, confused. The thing is, your sister is not having the best time at school these days. What do you mean? Asks Aijin. Yongchun trying to think of the best way to put it. She's been a bit famous since back in middle school for being smart and pretty. A lot of the guys liked her over the years. But then a girl who got jealous started to bully her at school. They bullied her? Questions Aijin. And everyone just let that happen? Well, that girl's brother is Jisoo Kim, one of the worst thugs at our schools. And it got worse for Daeyeon in high school because they're in the same home. It's so bad that everyone is pretty amazed that she's still coming to school. So, that girl just liked a boy who happened to like Daeyeon, and that's the only reason why she's getting bullied? Inquires Aijin. Everything usually starts with a stupid reason behind it, answers Yongchun. People like them don't need a specific reason to pick on someone. As we see a panel of the eraser, we're then cut back to a flashback. You're starting school soon, aren't you? I hope you'll adjust well. Don't worry, Grandpa. It's just that you've spent so much time living overseas. Daeyeon, you're doing pretty well in school, aren't you? Asks Aijin's grandpa. Of course. You know I'm doing fine, Grandpa. That's why I've never had to worry about you, Daeyeon. She's been such a good student and her teachers have nothing but good things to say about her, Aijin. Really? As we see Daeyeon with a long cold face, we then see a panel of Aijin in silence. Are you okay? Yeah. Thanks for letting me know. Everyone here knows about it anyway, but I hope you're not too worried about it. As we see Aijin thinking about what he just found out, the door to the classroom gets busted open by one of the bullies. A couple of trash cans start to appear. What are you guys doing in our class? Asks Hyukjin, just taking care of business as Mr. Dumpster appears. Jisoo, what's he doing here? Crap, I can take the other guys, but Jisoo is a handful. That's him. As one of the dudes whispers to Mr. Dumpster. You idiots got your ass handed to you by a scrawny pipsqueak like that, huh? I told you we were caught off guard. You fudging morons and your lousy excuses. Yo, yeah, you. Get over here. As Mr. Dumpster tries to spark a fight, Aijin responds by standing up. I don't know what he did to piss off Jisoo Kim, but he's screwed now. So, you're Jisoo Kim? Asks Aijin. Didn't think you would have had time to find out who I am. Aijin doesn't answer him back. Would you look at this dipshwat staring at me? Don't just stand there. Get him. As Mr. Dumpster orders his other minions to get Aijin, we then see Daeyeon burst open the door to the classroom. Her physical state looks beaten up, and her clothing dirted. Daeyeon, Aijin notices the wounds and her scuffed outfit, surprised by her state. Look, it's Hyujin's shuttle. Geez, is your sister here because she's worried for her brother? How sweet. My sister only whines and nags me to do crap for her. Shut up. I'll worry when you actually do get your ass beat by someone. As Ms. Dumpster appears. Goddamn bitch, you made me run through half the school. Damn, you're fast. As Ms. Dumpster and her other friend are panting, Daeyeon, scared for what's about to happen to her brother, looks at Aijin. Aijin, also surprised by the state she's in, sees his sister crying and apologizing. I dragged you into this. I'm sorry. What a drama queen. Daeyeon, you have nothing to be sorry for. As we see Daeyeon in tears, and right at the next panel, one of the trash cans gets hammered down by Aijin. What the? The other bully is surprised. They're the ones who should be sorry, not you. As we see a sick panel of Aijin. One of the other bullies who already got beat down by Aijin starts coming at him. You little piece of crap. Aijin dodges and hits him at his throat, putting him down on his knees. The other bully, also surprised, staggers. You bastard. As he tries to swing at Aijin. Aijin dodges and manages to punch him in his kidney, knocking him back. Mr. Dumpster is surprised by what he's seeing, starts to question himself. What the hell? What just happened? The other two bullies, Jaehyung and Hyekjin, as well as Ms. Dumpster and her friend, and his sister, are all wide-eyed by the glamorous beating that Aijin showcased to them. I hear my sister's been having a hard time thanks to you, as Aijin glares back. Both Mr. and Mrs. Dumpster flinch in nervousness. Chapter 4. The other students are whispering to themselves about what just happened. So you're not just some pushover, is that it? As we see the other losers on the ground beaten, Aijin not answering back. Mother effer, answer me. As Mr. Dumpster tries to kick Aijin, thinking to himself, I nailed him. In reality, Aijin managed to block it with his hand. Surprised. Crap, he blocked it. He won't see this one coming. As he tries to kick him with his other leg, only for it to get blocked as well. Aijin, grabbing his leg, pulls him towards him and nails him on his face. Mr. Dumpster gets thrown back to the ground with a bloodied-up nose, cursing. As he looks up, we see a panel of Aijin menacingly looking down on him with a disappointed face. He then kicks Mr. Dumpster in the face, giving him a taste of his own medicine, knocking him out cold. Aijin, after finishing with that, looks back. The other students all surprised. Holy crap, is this for real? He just knocked out Jisoo Kim. As the other two bullies are in shock. One of the bullies that was bullying Daeyeon is also in shock. What the hell is this? As we see Aijin walking towards Ms. Dumpster. What? Aijin about to give her the beating as well. He's not gonna hit me too, is he? He then gets stopped by his sister. Aijin, stop. But they've been bullying you all this time. Huh? Isn't that what they did to you today too? Daeyeon surprised. But how did he know? Girl, are you serious? How did he know? Yeah, totally not with the beat-up face and scuffed-up clothing. Definitely not. Wait, then is he fighting again because of me? As she holds Aijin. I'm fine now. Trying to fake a smile. I really am. So just please stop. Please. As her hands are nervously shaking, Aijin, noticing her trembling hands, decides to stop, sparing Ms. Dumpster from the same treatment her brother went through. Okay, let's go. Huh. I'll walk you back to your homeroom. Okay. As he walks her back. Jesus, what the hell just happened? As the other students start to gossip, did Jisoo Kim's entire posse just get whipped by one guy? Wow. That new kid is pretty hardcore, isn't he? As Jaehyung thinks to himself, good thing we didn't try to jump him. Youngshul looking in amazement, while Miss Dumpster is left almost crying. Goddamn idiots. As we see 4 losers knocked down to the ground. So, I guess you're really good at fighting. I was shocked. Well, I guess so, as Aijin answers back. Sorry again. For what? Because I dragged you into this mess yesterday. You had to fight because of me, and now this happened. Don't say that. It's supposed to be this way. Daeyeon, confused. Back where I used to live, everyone only had their interests at heart. They never cared about what happened to others, as long as they didn't have to suffer. And even those people would act differently sometimes. And that was only when their own families were involved. Their families? Inquires Daeyeon. Yup. As we see a flashback of Aijin's time as a mercenary. The scene covered with a bunch of bloodshed and firing. It always made me wonder, what is family? As we see a panel of presumably a father protecting his daughter. And why is this so important? The flashback ends as we're now cut back to the present. But you barely remember me and Grandpa, answers back Dan. That's true, and I still don't remember much from back then. But it doesn't change the fact that we're a family. Damn, this will make Dom Toretto proud. As Aijin smiles back, Daeyeon gets flustered. I'm fine now, so you should get back to your class. But I was gonna walk you to your homeroom. You did. That's my homeroom over there. Oh, Daeyeon waves back. I'll see you later. As she heads back to her homeroom, he's back. As one of the students whispers, everyone is in silence as Aijin enters back into his class. Dude, you beat those bastards so hard. What did they teach you at schools overseas, man? Yeah, dude, you butchered them like a bunch of noobs. Seeing Jisoo run was priceless. As Jaehyung and Hyukjin congratulate him. You were goddamn awesome. Aijin sighs. Youngshul looks at him. To be honest, I thought you were pretty awesome too. As he blushes, Aijin just smiles. We're then cut to Mr. Dumpster and his little trash can group. All beat up. There's something different about that person. As he's trembling. He doesn't fight like any typical thug at school. You're just gonna keep sitting around like this? As his sister is just bitching around. He just caught you off guard. But you can get him again later. They're in silence. He's just one moron. Are you seriously gonna let one dude beat you like this? Shut your trap. As her brother yells back, you go and fight him yourself. If you think it's so damn easy. Excuse me? Surprised that her brother yelled back at her. Don't take it out on me just because you got your asses handed to you by some guy. What did you say? As her brother glares back at her, she starts tearing up. As she gets silent, she heads out slamming the door behind her, hurriedly walking back to her classroom with frustration. She thinks to herself, goddamn losers. They're the ones that couldn't even handle one guy. She's complaining as if she did anything. She then comes back to her classroom, slamming the door. She glances at Daeyeon, who is quietly sitting down on her seat. Well, aren't you lucky, Den? As she does not answer back. Now you can come to school without a care in the world. You can just go running to your big brother if anything happens. As she sneers. Am I wrong? Trying to provoke Daeyeon to give her an answer, Daeyeon's still in silence. She gets angered by this, as Daeyeon is not giving her any attention. This biatch is giving me the cold shoulder. She then has a flashback to Aijin, who was about to give her the hands. And now I just have to let her do whatever the hell she wants. Like hell I will. Clearly not learning her lesson. Oh boy. Chapter 5. We see Daeyeon walking out of school as she thinks back to what Aijin said. They're the ones who should be sorry, not you. We're a family. As she contemplates the thought of whether or not she could come to school without having to worry about getting bullied, we then see more of how Daeyeon gets treated in school. What took you so long, biatch? I'm starving because of you. As Daeyeon gets slapped. What did you just say to me? Don't you effing dare talk back to me. Does this mean they won't hurt me anymore? As she is in thought, she seemingly passes Aijin. Something on your mind, Daeyeon? Caught off guard. Yeah. Daeyeon answers back. I called your name a few times. So sorry I didn't hear you. Were you waiting for me again? Yep, 'cause I don't know the way back home. As Aijin smiles. Oh still? We should stop by the store and get some groceries. Do you need to buy something? Grandpa gets pretty hungry when he comes home late. He lights up whenever I have dinner ready for him. Oh, as Aijin walks home with her. Just look at the smug smile on that biatch's face. As we see Huijin, formerly known as Ms. Dumpster, talking smack behind her back. We'll see how long that smile lasts. Foreshadowing an uneventful future that might happen to Daeyeon. We then see a couple of panels of Daeyeon buying green onions. Which one should I get? As she contemplates which green onion to purchase. We then see a couple of girls whispering to themselves. Which school is he from? Just wow. As they whisper to themselves of how handsome Aijin looks. I knew he was pretty popular at school, but it looks like he stands out outside of school too. As Daeyeon thinks to herself. Aijin, did you ever have a girlfriend back home? Girlfriend. Confused. Not a girl who's your friend, but a girl you were dating. No, I didn't. Why not? I can see you're pretty popular with the girls. I was busy. Oh, ashamed of what she asked. She thinks to herself, what was I even thinking? He would have been busy trying to adjust to an unfamiliar country. And you? Do you have a boyfriend? A boy that you're dating? Daeyeon surprised by the question. Huh? Oh no. Why not? Thinking on how to answer, she answers, I was busy too, using the same tricks as Aijin, huh? I see, Daeyeon, I see. We're then cut to a panel of Aijin and Daeyeon having dinner together with their grandpa. Here you go, Aijin, as he receives a Samsung Galaxy present. It's not knowing what to say. All the kids have one like that nowadays. I don't know if you'll like it, but they said it's a good phone. Daeyeon notices that the phone is of the latest model. Aijin is surprised. I already saved Daeyeon's number and mine's in the phone. You did? But I always help you with things like that because you forget how. Well, the salesperson helped me. Why didn't you ask them to do it for you? Geez, they would have done it for you if you asked. It's just I wanted to do it for him myself. Daeyeon and Aijin are flustered by the answer. I heard that opening new things matter a lot to young people nowadays. I hope it's okay with you that I open the box to save our phone numbers. Of course, as Aijin smiles back. Oh, and I hope you're not upset that I didn't get you a new phone, Daeyeon. It's just that he didn't have one, but I'll get you a new one too. No, Grandpa, mine's still good. Aijin notices the wholesome atmosphere he's in, smiles brightly. Thank you. I really like it. Later on, we see Aijin laying on his bed, using his phone. He sends a text to someone. We are then cut to a panel of Sergeant Kim receiving a text message. Who's texting me this late? It's Aijin. Please contact me at this number from now on. Huh? Aijin has a new number? But didn't you already get him a phone? Sir? I did. Maybe he got a new phone. You know how picky kids can be. No way, I got him the most expensive one they had. People can be rather particular about the brand though. Making fun of Sergeant Kim. Next morning, we see Aijin coming out of the shower. See you later. You're leaving this early again? Yeah, and I'm late. Leave the dishes in the sink when you're done. As Daeyeon slams the door behind her, leaving, we see a table full of food as Daeyeon is running to school. Looks like I'll make it right on time. Making more soup took longer than I expected, but I'm glad Grandpa liked it so much. You made a fresh pot of soup for me this early in the morning? You didn't have to lose sleep just to make me breakfast? As Daeyeon smiles wholesomely. I'm just glad I could do something nice for Grandpa. And right as she was about to take the next step, she gets kicked. Surprised, she falls back. Ow. As we see three strangers dressed in an ominous manner. Better watch where you're going, biatch. You almost broke my ankle. Daeyeon terrified. Well, aren't you going to apologize? Nervously answering them back. I'm sorry. Don't give me that biatch. As one of the strangers slaps down in the face. Apologize like you effing mean it. Dan even more terrified. Hey, why don't we let off some steam at karaoke? Great idea. I definitely need to de-stress a little. As one of the strangers squats down. You'll come with us, won't you, Daeyeon? This voice is Huijin Kim. We're then cut to a panel of a board stating, Coin karaoke. Man, my voice was so bad today, as opposed to any other day. Come again, states the receptionist. As Huijin and her other friends leave the karaoke, the receptionist talks to himself as he heads to clean up the room they were in. Kids these days don't know why they were screaming through all their songs though. Good lungs, I guess. As he opens the door to the room Huijin and her other friends were using, he's shocked to find a high school girl knocked down on the floor. Hey, are you alright? Worried? Daeyeon, barely being able to stand up, answers back, yes. No, you don't look okay at all, as she coughs. Hold on. I'll call you an ambulance. No, I'm fine, as she staggers back, barely being able to hold herself straight. Hey, wait. As the receptionist tries to talk to Dan, we're then cut back to the school. Has anyone seen Daeyeon? States the teacher. She's not here today? That's strange. She wouldn't miss school without calling in. As we see Huijin smiling menacingly. You think we'll be okay, Huijin? As one of her friends asks. Why wouldn't we be okay? All we did was teach a biatch a good lesson. But still, what are you freaking out about? Daeyeon missing school has nothing to do with us. Oh, right, it's got nothing to do with us. As she answers nervously, trying to reassure herself. The panel then cuts to the end of school. As we see Aijin waiting for Daeyeon. As time passes, Daeyeon doesn't appear. Did she go home already? Confused, Aijin tries dialing her phone number, but Daeyeon doesn't answer, as we see her laying in bed. Aijin comes back home and notices that her shoes are at home. Confused, he goes and knocks on her door. Daeyeon? Oh, you're home, Aijin? Answers back Daeyeon. So are you? Yeah. Were you waiting for me? Yeah. I tried calling you, but you didn't answer. Sorry, I was asleep. He notices her tone of voice isn't right. Dan, will you let me in for a second? Concerned, he tries to get in. No, I can't. I'm in bed because I'm not feeling that well. Are you sick? How bad is it? It's just a slight fever. I'll be fine once I get some sleep, as she's trying to make an excuse. Okay, let me know if you need anything. Aijin, clearly concerned, tries to head to the store to get some medicine, but he stops as he notices her shoes are covered in bloodstains. Noticing that she's not just simply sick, he decides that it's got to do something with her bullies. Chapter 6. Ow! Is it really that bad? Seeing Aijin with the emergency medkit? No, it just stings a little. You should be more careful. You fell down the stairs while trying to dodge a bicycle? Yeah, it looks as bad as if you had run into the bike, I guess, Aijin said, not buying the story. Are you sure you don't need to see a doctor? Daeyeon nervously answers. Yeah, I'm fine really. If I go to the hospital, they'll find that these bruises aren't from a flight of stairs. Daeyeon thought to herself, as we get a flashback of similar event in the past. Why am I in trouble? Why are you asking me how she hurt herself? Because you did this. No, I didn't. You covered your face with a hat and a mask. But I know it was you. I heard your voice, and the way you talked to me was the same. You've always been bullying me at school. Daeyeon accused, as Hyujin snickered. So you're just assuming it was me? Even though you didn't see the person's actual face, just because you and I haven't exactly been friends? Hyujin retorted. Daeyeon, did you see the face of the person who assaulted you? Their face was covered, but it really was Hyujin, Daeyeon affirmed. What is the meaning of all this? Hyujin's mother yelled back. You called the police and treat my daughter like some criminal all because of some ridiculous hunch? Please calm down, ma'am. No, I will not be calm. How come? Daeyeon wondered to herself. There's no doubt that it was Hyujin. But why won't anyone believe me? As the cops shamefully looked away, apologize to my daughter immediately. Who taught you to pull such wicked tricks? But it really was Hyujin. Would you look at her manners? Astonished. That's it. I'll take this up with your parents instead. Bring your parents down here, Hyujin's mother demanded, giving Daeyeon utter embarrassment as she cried, knowing that she couldn't do anything. It's the same situation again since I don't have any proof, and I don't want this to worry Grandpa. Daeyeon thought to herself as she clutched her bedsheets. Daeyeon? Oh, are you okay? Yeah. Well, at least your bones don't seem broken. But the bruises are pretty bad, and they'll hurt for a few days. Okay. Gosh, you're really good with this stuff. It's not too tight. It's perfect. Daeyeon complimented his bandaging skills. I just hope Grandpa doesn't get too upset over this. He has a weak heart. He does. Aijin questioned, not knowing about his grandfather's health issues. I'll make sure he doesn't worry, and you just get some sleep. Okay? Aijin reassured her, heading back. Aijin. Thanks. Daeyeon expressed gratitude. Aijin smiled back. I did the right thing by not telling him. There's just nothing a couple of teenagers like us can do about this. As we see an angered Aijin in the next panel. The whole school's talking about yesterday how he managed to beat up every one of us, including you. As we see Hyujin's brother in some sort of karaoke, all beaten up. In silence, one of them says, So, what's your plan now, Jisoo? Our only problem was that we underestimated that scoundrel. We could take him if we plan ahead. Yeah, man. We can't just let him get away with this. He won't stand a chance against all of us. He's definitely not an easy target, but we can't let this go, Jisoo thought to himself. Crap! He slammed the table. All right, forget it. Going one-on-one is our style. To heck with it. As they all smiled. Tomorrow we'll jump in with everything we've got. And right as he says that, Jisoo gets a call from his sister. What? Jisoo, are you and your idiots still hanging around at the club? Tell me what you want or I'm hanging up. You owe me big time. What are you talking about? Jisoo asked, confused. I roughed up that jerk Dion today, his sister admitted. What? We can't let people think she's off limits because of what happened, can we? Goodness. Jisoo smiled to himself. You're my sister, all right? You did good. As he said that, we see the door opening. We were planning on paying that darned bastard a visit anyway. As we see a mysterious figure walking towards Jisoo's direction. Ha! Jisoo looked towards the stranger, confused. Who does he think he is walking into our turf? Jisoo, what are you talking about? Aijin entered their room. Well, forget me. I know I was dying for a rematch, Jisoo began. But before he could finish his sentence, Aijin straightaway headed for one of his goons, knocking them out. Another one tries to attack him, but Aijin managed to knock him out as well. Both of them knocked out. Jisoo, realizing that Aijin isn't playing around, commands his goons to jump him as well. Just get him, Jisoo instructed. Aijin, with his professional fighting skills, manages to defeat both of them. One of them getting knocked out with a kick, and he uses him to throw him to the roof and then punches the other dude, knocking him out. Another one comes at Aijin with a bottle. Aijin, noticing this, knocks the bottle out of his hand and uppercuts him. He dodges another hit, holds the person's arm, and knocks them out. He grabs another person and knees them in the face. With all of his goons knocked out, Jisoo is shocked. What the heck? Jisoo, what's going on over there? His sister is talking through the phone. Where the heck did he come from? Jisoo starts having chills. Do I really have to spell it out for you? With a menacing face, Aijin glares at him. I thought I told you to leave my sister alone, he said with a monotonous voice. Chapter 7. Ganging up on him didn't do crap, as Jisoo is terrified. He boxed us in by knocking the ones on the outside first. Then he attacked us so that we had to go over the table. It only took him a few seconds to use the structure of the room. How the hell does anyone beat an effer like that? What did my sister ever do to you? Questions Aijin. Hold on. As Jisoo is trying to stall for time, he tries to reach for a cup. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. Trying to distract Aijin with small talk, he throws a cup but misses as it gets shattered to the wall. Aijin manages to dodge it. Jisoo, heading towards Aijin, grabs a bottle, striking him but misses. Tries to strike again, but Aijin knocks the bottle out of his hand and hits him in the stomach. Jisoo tries to throw a punch. Mother effer. But Aijin blocks this as well, managing to hit him back. Jisoo tries to endure the many strikes from Aijin, but fails as he staggers back, barely being able to stand up. He thinks to himself, damn it, as his nose is covered in blood. He's not even out of breath. Did you really have to harass such a helpless girl? Jisoo cracks the bottle, trying to kill him. Just die, you bastard. Aijin, not even surprised by the situation, just smacks the bottle out of his hand and grabs Jisoo by the throat and slams him to the wall, choking him. God damn it. Fudge. Fudge.
Gisukimo.
What should I do with you? Jisoo, not being able to breathe. This is your final warning. I'll be back if I so much as hear a rumor that you went near my sister. And you'd better keep your sister in line too, because if she even touches my sister, I'll be back for you, and you won't want me here again. As he chokes him even harder. Jisoo, terrified as he can't breathe. I can't breathe. Thinking that he'll die, he starts begging for mercy. Please, because I won't hold back next time. Jisoo, almost passing out, manages to survive as Aijin lets go. Jisoo, with desperation, takes a breath of air, coughing. Aijin walks out of the room like nothing happened. We then see his sister. What the hell was going on? Thinking to herself, I got a bad feeling about this, as she heads back to the karaoke, where her brother was at. Oh, surprised. She sees Aijin coming out of the karaoke, startled. What should I do? Wait, he can't prove that I beat up Daeyeon. Don't come any closer. Nervously as she moves back and falls, hurting herself. Aijin just stares at her, after which he gets a phone call from his grandpa and heads back. Hyujin, who is terrified, has her eyes glued towards Aijin as she watches him walking away. Later, we then see Hyujin heading back to where her brother was at. Seeing all his goons defeated. What happened? Did you get hooped by that bastard again? Hyujin, that girl, that sister of his. Just leave her alone. Surprised by his reaction. What the hell are you even talking about? Jisoo, who's frustrated. I said leave her the F alone. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of that bastard now? She's talking as if she didn't just fall back from him merely glancing at her. Just answer me. No, why should I? Hyujin, as he yells with anger. Hyujin, startled. I'm telling you, if you even go near that girl, I'll personally F you up myself. Sick of getting beat up? Jisoo gives Hyujin a warning. You hear me? Hyujin starts to tear up. We then get cut to a panel of Ijin with his grandpa. Sorry to pull you away from your friends. That's okay. Daeyeon got injured. She said you treated her bruises. I did. She said she fell down the stairs. But I don't think that's the case. It looks pretty serious, but she refuses to go to the hospital. Ijin not answering. I struggled to raise Daeyeon on my own. I had no idea how to raise a young girl. I was always out working to put food on the table. I couldn't give her anything she needed. I'm just thankful that she's come this far. Looking back on all those years, she's given me so much more than anything I've been able to give her. I had lost everything in that accident, and Daeyeon was the only thing that kept me going. And now it breaks my heart to see her so hurt, and she won't even tell me the real reason behind it. I guess maybe she feels like I'm just too old to understand. Ijin just listening. They say that kids become distant from their parents as they grow older. It must be even worse to reach out to an old grandpa. Ijin answering back. Grandpa, I haven't been here for very long, but some things were very obvious from the beginning. I could tell just how much Daeyeon loved you, but also how much you loved Daeyeon too. His grandpa hearing this starts to get emotional. Don't worry too much. I'll keep an eye out for her at school too. Ijin, I don't know how to express it in words, but I'm so happy that you're here. As we end with a wholesome conversation. Chapter 8, Omnia Medical Examination Center. We see Jisoo, all bandaged up in a hospital gown. I knew you'd get yourself into trouble again. His parents remark as they stand by. This is what you get for all your damn shenanigans. Your son is hospitalized, and that's all you can say to him. His baby mother yells back at her husband. This isn't Jisoo's fault. Go find the brute that did this to him and yell at him. Just look at what he did to Jin's arm. She continues, gesturing towards H-Jin with a cast. Their father, clearly annoyed, just sighs. You just rest and focus on your recovery, honey. Okay, answers Jisoo as they leave the room. What the hell were you thinking? What did you go and tell them for? You just got me in more trouble. And now I look like a damn loser. Jisoo complains. Then what was I supposed to do? How could I hide it from them when you were in the hospital and my arm broken like this? Jisoo stares back at her, surprised. He did that to your arm? He asks, not believing her. As we get a flashback of her just falling and breaking her arm herself. Sort of course he did. She lies. You just stay here and get better. I'm gonna make sure they realize once and for all just who the hell they're dealing with. She concludes, but Jisoo isn't so sure about that as he sweats a bit. I just spoke to Mr. Cha, she suddenly says. What for? Why would you make this more complicated? Just let the school take care of it. It's Saturday, and I won't sit by waiting for them. The school won't get justice for what he did to our poor kids. They'll settle for a suspension or an expulsion at best. You had no business going and asking someone like Mr. Cha to handle this. I know enough about him. He's been handling your dirty work for years. I already told him everything he needs to know, so just let him handle it. She insists. As we see H-Jin secretly listening in on her parents. Mr. Cha is that scary gangster who works for Dad. Well, I guess that'll be the end of that bastard now. H-Jin thinks to herself as we see a panel of Mr. Cha. This is just embarrassing. Getting in the middle of some damn teenager shenanigans. Pipe down. The boss can hear you, just so we're clear. You're asking me to take care of that kid who beat up your children? Unless you and your men personally deal with it. Clearly stunned with the request. My daughter has a fractured wrist, and my son is in the hospital. We can't let the perpetrator just run around while they're in so much pain, she argues, angering Mr. Cha even more with this dumb request. This is my life now, he contemplates to himself. He sighs. If only I could just ignore her. He concludes as we then come back to Jean, who thinks, would they really let it go now? As his door is knocked. What is this about? Who are you? And why are you looking for Ijin? Jin's grandpa asks as we see two gangsters knocking on Jin's home. But why this late at night? Ijin wonders, coming out. I'll be back soon, grandpa. He reassures him, clearly understanding the situation, as he starts heading towards them. But his grandpa, heavily worried, tries to console with him. I know them. Don't worry. We just need to talk for a little while. Ijin reassures his grandpa, who is clearly afraid and nervous. Ijin heads back with them, questioning who these crooks are and whether they're here for him. Boss, we got him. The kid caught on pretty quickly. Didn't make a peep and just came along. Did he? Then we'll make this quick for all our sake. The boss responds. The gangster agrees, as they grab Ijin by the arm. I guess I should text her to let her know it's done. Believing the job is over. We'll be nice and quick since you didn't hassle us. But it's gonna hurt. Hold him down. What's her number again? Scrolling through his phone. Poor bastard. Why'd you go and screw with those kids? Those kids? Ijin inquires, surprised. So this is about Jisoo Kim. They shouldn't have said anything in front of the kid. It'd be better to tell them off when we're finished with this. This is interesting. Mr. Cha glances at Ijin, noticing that he isn't nervous at all. Ijin looks at his surroundings, suddenly grabs one of the gangster's arms, pulls him in, and then elbows him in the face. You little effer. They try to strike him with a bat, but Ijin manages to dodge it. I'll teach you a lesson, you punk, the gangster threatens, as Ijin grabs the bat between his bicep and his forearm, holding it and then striking the gangster, knocking him out. And he even followed through with a blow, Mr. Cha observes. This kid knows what he's doing. Ijin gets grabbed. Gotcha. You're a dead mother effer. Ijin, not even startled, strikes the gangster with his elbow to his kidney and follows through with an elbow to the face. Looks like he's had a lot of experience in actual combat too, Mr. Cha notes, as Ijin knocks them both out. Ijin then glances at Mr. Cha. So you weren't just some average high school kid, he remarks. Jesus, never thought I'd be fighting a teenager at my age. Mr. Cha says to himself as he starts heading towards Ijin. This man's full of weak points too, Ijin thinks to himself, as Mr. Cha strikes him. Although caught off guard, Ijin still manages to dodge it. Mr. Cha then begins giving Ijin a barrage of strikes, in which Ijin manages to dodge all of them while noticing Mr. Cha's weak point. Heading towards his kidney, he tries to hit it, but Mr. Cha notices and strikes Ijin back. However, Ijin manages to block it and takes a few steps back. Sheesh, I didn't think you'd block that one, Mr. Cha remarks. Ijin stays silent, wondering, did he know I'd move in? As his hand throbs. It's as if he knew and waited for the right moment. I was counting on that blow to knock you out. Mr. Cha, curious about Ijin's identity, asks him who he really is. Just a high school student, Ijin answers back. But Mr. Cha knows it's bull and is angered. As he starts analyzing Ijin, he realizes that Ijin doesn't fight like some sloppy teenager. He charges towards the opponent knowing that he'll take damage. That takes a certain level of experience and guts. But this kid just goes right in for the kill without a second thought, Mr. Cha observes, as Ijin gets in a fighting stance. Huh? Getting ready for the next round, eh? Mr. Cha remarks, dashing towards Ijin. Then let's see what you're really made of, he challenges. Ijin blocks Mr. Cha's strike and tries to swing back. Mr. Cha manages to dodge Ijin's punch and tries throwing another strike, but Ijin grabs his arm, managing to hit him in his stomach. Mr. Cha starts questioning his defeat. No, he can't be, he thinks to himself as we see a couple more panels of them fighting. He's using my attacks in order to round up for his own, starting to get angered as he's bombarded with Ijin's punches. You think your little tricks will work on me? He challenges, as we see Ijin nonchalantly dodging his attacks and blocking them. Mr. Cha notices this and realizes that he's about to get pulverized as Ijin gives a right-handed hook and a couple more barrages. Embarrassingly, Mr. Cha thinks to himself, God damn it, I got my ass hooped by a teenager, as he's knocked down on the ground. He looks at Aijin, realizing, those eyes. It's like he wasn't even rattled by the fight to begin with, as he coughs up blood. I don't know where this kid came from, but those brats messed with the wrong person, Mr. Cha concludes, as we see Aijin heading back. We're then cut off to a place called Inbi Kim, National Assembly member. Why haven't we heard back from Mr. Cha yet? You should call him, just wait. He'll call when he's done, as they both wait impatiently. Hyujin sighs and they finally get a call. Put him on speaker so I can listen too, demands Hyujin's mother. The father, frustrated with her annoyance, complies. It's me, sir. Mr. Cha, I apologize for this ridiculous favor my wife burdened you with, Hyujin's father says. Why is it ridiculous? Asks Hyujin's mother, angered by this. She yells back, our kids were attacked. No, sir. I'm afraid I'm the one who should apologize. Mr. Cha shocks them. Hyujin's father questions, what do you mean? I'm afraid that your children may have messed with the wrong person. Mr. Cha admits. Excuse me? He got me, sir. Mr. Cha reveals. Hyujin's father, in shock, dwells on what he just heard. Mr. Cha, the best fixer in the business, lost to a high school kid. Confused by such a statement, he's not just good at combat, states Mr. Cha, as we see a glance of the door opening. Both parents look back, noticing that their guards are knocked out. They both start to sweat as they notice Aijin calmly entering their room. I think he's more than just some average teenager, sir. Warning them. We then see Aijin closing the room behind him, with all the guards knocked on the ground. Chapter 9. We see Mr. Cha in a phone call that's been cut off. He's there already? He says, surprised. Jesus, now I'm really curious who this kid actually is. But it doesn't change the fact that a goddamn kid beat me up, he adds, clearly embarrassed by such an event. We're then cut back to the panel of Aijin entering the assembly room. Hyujin nervously jumps. Her mother, noticing Hyujin's reactions, realizes that it must be Aijin who put them in that sorry state. It's you? You're the one who did this to my kids? She asks, trying to contain herself. Excuse me? How did you get into my office? Past the men who had blocked the entrance. Did this boy really manage to beat Mr. Cha and all of my security detail? He wonders, doubting whether a high school kid is capable of such a feat. Hyujin's father then remembers what Mr. Cha said. But more than that, your children may have messed up with the wrong person. How did he know where to find me? He questions as they exchange words. Don't give us that attitude. You think you can get away with anything just because you can beat up a couple of kids? I'll teach you some proper manners. I'm reporting you for assaulting my kids and our security, as well as breaking in and entering this office. Hyujin smirks, thinking she won. Mom's right. He might be good at fighting, but that won't matter if the police are involved. What could he possibly do? I'll call the police right now, or, better yet, the district attorney. You have no idea who you're dealing with, boy, she warns, but Aijin calmly answers back. I have a pretty good idea, he says. Your husband is a second-team assembly member now running for office. He adds, to which Hyujin's mother snarks back. And that somehow didn't stop you. Of course, a kid like you won't know what that means in the real world. As she proceeds to call the district attorney, Hyujin, seeing the situation, snickers, thinking the game is over. As she whispers to herself, Aijin calmly analyzes the situation. It's me, Prosecutor Choi. We need to speak with you at my husband's office, Hyujin's mother says, but before she could continue, she's interrupted with a loud screech. I'm so sorry, Hyujin. Please forgive me. As we see a video of Hyujin bullying students. Shut the F** up. You shouldn't have screwed up in the first place. Hyujin is in shock as she doesn't know how Aijin got those video files. We then see a bunch of violence occurring in the video. Fudge. Slapping her hurts my hands more than her. Just crush her so she never gets in our way, says another voice. Both her parents are shocked by what they're hearing and witnessing. Please, I'll do better. What the F** would I want with this chump change? I tried to save all my wages, but I only work part-time. Then get a better-paying job, biatch. As Aijin shows the video files to them. Go steal or prostitute yourself. Just get me $500 by the end of the week. Aijin's mother, stunned by what she's witnessing, ends the call. I'm gonna call you back, she says. But Hyujin, angered, asks, but how did you get those files? Aijin doesn't answer. We then see a couple of panels of Aijin copying files to a USB drive, while wearing a mask and a cap, presumably to hide his appearance, meaning he's breaking into someone's home. Hyujin, trying to save herself, struggles to come up with an excuse, stutters, "Daddy, I had a good reason for doing those." Before finishing her sentence, her father shuts her off. "Shut your mouth." Hyujin, clearly angered. "I have files involving Jisoo Kim as well. For some reason, your two children keep videos of their conquests. Some clips show them beating up kids at school or in alleys, as well as dozens of clips of them extorting money and valuables from their victims. The latest clip shows my sister getting assaulted by a group of girls at a karaoke." As Hyujin trembles, "Don't you dare threaten us. You think you can get away with this?" says Hyujin's mother, who starts to get worried. "I wasn't the one who started all this, and this is hardly a threat compared to hiring a bunch of gangsters to assault me. I have recorded that as well. Let me get this straight. You did this to Jisoo and Aijin because they assaulted your sister first? As parents, you will take your children's side at all costs. And as a brother, I'll do whatever it takes to protect my sister. All right, we will pay for treatment and offer a hefty settlement to make amends." "That won't be necessary," answers back Aijin. "What? Then what is it you want?" asks Hyujin's father, confused. "Would you like for my kids to apologize to your sister?" With that statement, Hyujin thinks to herself that she'd rather bite her tongue off rather than apologizing. That won't be necessary either. An apology won't bring back the time she had to spend in pain. Besides, they wouldn't really mean it. I'd like for my sister to never have to see Jisoo or Hyujin come ever again. Aijin surprises them with his request. What the hell is he even saying? Hyujin wonders, surprised. All right, I will have them transferred, stutters Hyujin's father, shocked by the request. Better yet, I'll send them abroad, he adds as both his wife and daughter yell back. Dad, honey, quiet down, both of you. Would that be enough to satisfy you? He asks Aijin. I'd like for them to be gone tomorrow. I'll let the school know. Hyujin trembles and cries as she realizes her defeat. And right as when Aijin was about to head out, Hyujin's father calls out that since he agreed to the demand, he'd like to get the original video files. Aijin glares at him, shocked by Aijin's expression. He thinks to himself, how can those deadly eyes belong to a child as young as my son? You must have taken me for some kind of an idiot, sir. Aijin says coldly, answering back, it's my mistake, as Aijin shuts the door and heads back. We're then forwarded to when Aijin arrives back home. His family is clearly worried. Aijin, are you all right? Did they hurt you? Daeyeon gets teary. Aijin, surprised by their reaction, answers back, no, but they seemed like dangerous people. They just stopped by to talk. Something about them didn't feel right. Grandpa and I were so worried. You should just worry about getting better. How are you feeling? Asks Aijin. I'm fine, while glancing away. Aijin, noticing the state she's in, reassures her, don't worry. You'll never have to fall down the stairs again. Dan, confused, I got rid of it all. The next day, we see Daeyeon in school. You don't have to walk me to class now. I'm basically fine now, she tells her brother. All right, see you later. Aijin replies, and Daeyeon enters her class. As she starts to ponder, I would have stayed home longer if Aijin and Grandpa weren't worried, as she doesn't want to see her bullies again. Did you hear? Mr. Lee said Hyujin won't be coming to school anymore. Daeyeon, hearing this, stops in her tracks. What are you talking about? She and her brother are both going to study abroad, another person adds. Holy crap, does that mean we won't have to see her again? Things will finally feel normal around here, another one comments. Daeyeon, thinking to herself, Hyujin is moving abroad? She then remembers back to what Aijin said yesterday. Don't worry, you'll never have to fall down the stairs again. I got rid of it all. Aijin, he knew about it. Realizing this, she rushes back to Aijin, calling out her brother's name. Aijin, confused, looks back. Daeyeon, who's in shock and amazement, doesn't know what to say. What do I even say? She wonders, while struggling to come up with what she should say. Aijin simply smiles and answers back, see you later. Daeyeon, filled with joy, also responds back, stating, "See you," as she cries. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed. And go support the author by reading their work.